Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Disruptive Franchise Podcast. I am joined this week by Sarah from Baby Cloud. Hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me. Like I was explaining, it's my first one, so I'm a bit like, Stacey, look after me.
I promise we'll be gentle. I'll be so gentle. And yeah, I'm very honoured to be the first podcast that you guested on.
The first time I've been brave enough to stick my head up.
Love it. Well, you'll be rewarded because it'll be awesome. Sarah, tell us about Baby Cloud and what you guys do.
I feel so lucky to have the Baby Cloud. It's 5 years old now, and a concept born out of lockdown to support parents through their first year of parenting with their baby. So there's classes out there for babies and they do many different things, but actually I just felt so clear. My background was running baby classes and in a previous life corporate, which I know we have in common. And when I added all of these things together, my previous experience of running baby classes in particular, and then having gone through COVID, I felt so clear that actually there was a really big shift in terms of what people needed as parents. And I felt very clear I'd learnt so much about how babies develop and the importance of their first year and how we can lay some amazing foundations for the way that they're developing in that first year, that I just felt the need to pull all of those things together and created a year-long course. So we do everything from parent and baby yoga through to sensory engagement, through to talking about bonding activities and the importance of eye contact and how babies mirror and mimic. It covers quite a broad spectrum, I suppose, than what you would necessarily expect for a typical sensory class. But I ran that for 2 years and it just flew, like absolutely flew. And then I decided to franchise it because I was just getting asked to run classes all over the place. I had people travelling 40 minutes for classes. I had been a franchisee myself previously, so the franchising thing I felt like I had actually a pretty good grasp on in terms of what was needed to be a good franchisor. And then now it's the Baby Cloud franchise. So it's not just the Baby Cloud Gravesend where I started. There's 6 of us and it's absolutely thriving in our lives as franchisees. We're thriving, but in terms of the parents and the babies as well, watching them thrive is amazing. And then the businesses within each of the territories that we have, it's just phenomenal. It's been like an amazing gift.
And do you just pinch yourself like this is happening?
Yes. And when I hear other people talking about being franchisors in particular, I feel like I'm like third person. It's a bit strange, but I think if I were to hear somebody else tell the story of what we do, I'd be like, wow. But with me, I'm like, no, it's just this. But I know that other people get it because obviously we've quite quickly grown to have 6 franchisees within the space of 2 years. And I think you probably know this about me, I'm not a salesy sort of person, but I'm a bit like, well, look at what we're doing. If you like it, come with us and I'll talk you through everything. But it's never been like we must grow. It's been really quite organic, which is a pleasure.
It's a really nice place to be, particularly if you're not naturally like salesy. And it's really like the proof is in the pudding because the quality of what you do and the uniqueness of how you do it really is what probably sells your franchise, right?
Totally. And I think, I'm very much like, fate and what will be, and that everything that happens to you is going to put you on the path to where you end up. And there's not a single thing that's happened in my working career. I'm sorry if you can hear a background noise of a tractor pulling onto my driveway. Yeah, everything that's happened in my career, whether that's left me in absolute pieces or whether it's been the best thing that I ever did, I couldn't do what I do now without any of those experiences happening to me. And I feel the thing that I love with my team is that I literally feel like there's nothing that hasn't happened that I can't support them through, that I haven't been through already myself. That wasn't very eloquently put, but I think
Yeah, it makes sense though. And there's something about you that's very calming and very warm. And I imagine from a franchisee perspective, I've worked with some of your franchisees, like that just really rubs off on them in terms of that, like there's not a panic, there's not everything's falling apart, like everything's just as it should be. That's what I really get from you guys. I love that about you.
Thank you. We've got a franchisee that's just onboarded. She's just done like her first 3-week term. And I've probably got 4 or 5 emails and I need to work out a way to capture them because She's like, you've just thought of everything. You've just thought of everything. And I really did try and think of everything. But for sure, I'm expecting that stuff comes up. I pilot franchise first because I wanted everything to be amazing from the word go. I didn't want people to be tripped up by my learning experience. Pilot, I said, okay, well, this is going to be a learning journey. Your input's really important. You're going to help um, to shape this business. When people were coming on board and still trusting me with the process, even though it was brand new, for me, kind of blew my mind a little bit, because they were taking a risk, but because they saw that they trusted the business, because they saw that they trusted me, and actually the level of feedback that came was quite minimal, and it actually seemed to flow really well because we'd put so much effort into thinking about what it should look like before we even did anything else. So the fact that you're able to pick that up off of the short time that we've spent together is a real compliment. So thank you. But yeah, it takes a lot of hard craft for it to come across as being lovely and fantastic.
Yeah, it really does. And this is the thing, I think, if you're listening and you're not in franchising yet, you're thinking about franchising, it is that, like, everyone appears very calm and very graceful and everything, but your feet are like going like the clippers underneath, like trying to keep up with everything. And actually, and it is that forward thinking of, okay, what does everyone need? Now, it's a recurring theme on the podcast that actually a lot of the franchisors that I speak to on here used to be franchisees. And I think there's a magic about that, because the way that you've approached how to franchise the baby cloud is probably more from the angle of the franchisee. What does the franchisee need to succeed, rather than what do I want as the franchisor?
Yeah, you're so right. And I want to say it in the most professional way, but it gave me a very big insight into exactly what I didn't want it to be, and a very clear insight into exactly what should be added and given as standard. That is, I suppose, perhaps thing in a lot of businesses, not wishing to speak negatively of other businesses, but no one's lived the experiences that I've lived. So that's the only way that perhaps that would even be identified. And as a franchisor, certainly, like, the learning curve that I've realised is that you don't have to be all things for everybody at all times. Essentially, the promise is a business in a box, and that you're kind of there as a sounding board and support. And from a franchisor perspective, we need a semi-passive income because we can't run all of those people's businesses. So we have to give a certain amount out to get a small portion back. And that's the way that it runs. But from a franchisee's perspective, they're going, well, I'm giving you this many thousands, and where's all the help? And I think the managing expectations has become a really important part of the process. It really kind of was at the start, but I gave all to everybody. We've kind of grown to the point where we manage expectations from the start, but I like surprising people with that extra support and that extra knowledge and that extra care and that extra text message. We have only got 6 of us, so it's still easy to do at this stage. But my plan is, that we'll always maintain that. And having franchisees come out of the pilot period and then re-sign for 5 years shows me that all of those extra bits of love and care, they're not huge workload pieces of love and care. They're just like little moments from the heart of checking in and stepping in when somebody needs them, that have proved really valuable. Well, they're really valued by the franchisee.
Yeah, definitely. I see that. I think as well, and it really does come from the heart, that place of really wanting to genuinely be a part of that person's journey to help them along rather than taking over. It doesn't feel like work either, because it is just that human touch that I think it's hard, because I think from a franchise industry point of view, nobody sets out to do it wrong, but there are little things that actually your personality as a franchisor adds to your franchise that doesn't exist in other franchises, but mean the world, right?
Completely. I think it's feeling valued. As an individual, we all like to feel valued and important. And the minute somebody doesn't feel it, like, why? What's their driver and their motivation to stay with you? And one of the things that I decided that I wanted to do early on was to retain, so that I had like longevity in franchisees, because the reality is people learn the nature of the business and they're there with you for 5 years. You know a job pretty well and inside out after those 5 years, but there has to be a reason for them to then stay and re-sign after those 5 years. And I think I need to be the reason that they want to stay after those 5 years. And also that the business seems to have grown and evolved and continue to grow and evolve, not at like a rapid pace, but, we'll pick out a song that's on a TikTok trend because we know it will have the whole room buzzing, and we change that into an activity so that everybody's, like the sort of "You're my little boo" thing. Like we had that in there last year, and the babies were looking at themselves in mirrors, and it was just gorgeous. But the whole room was like, "I love this song," and it just gave it this extra thing. And we'll just do those things all the time. We're like layering them in so that it's a bit addictive because you're constantly getting the feels off of the job, the engagement with the parents, those moments where we get it quite often where you feel like you just want to have a little cry because it's so special. Then you get the financial reward, which is obviously an important section and element and the practical side of things. And then there's that, who are you working for? Or like, how are they engaging with you? Like when you have a normal job, you have reviews and appraisals and that sort of thing. You get feedback and that's how you grow. But people thrive off that. They thrive off it in different ways as well, different natures. So I think all of those things added together have meant that, the girls are absolutely smashing it, and it's down to their individual nature. But when you add the model, as we've made it in, then I'm like, oh, is this mine?
For those of you that are listening to this episode rather than watching it, and you can watch it on YouTube, Sarah's face is just lit up. Like as you talk about your franchise, you just glow, you're just radiating joy. And I love that because it's so, obviously if you're listening, you can't see it, but it's so clear how much you love what you do. I think that makes a big difference as well.
Do you know what? I'm so confident talking about it as a business opportunity. And I can be like, it's this, and we do this, and we meet these, and we've done this amazing survey. And it said it helped 89% of parents bond with their baby more than through the process of being in the class. And I can list all the facts and talk so confidently about it. And then if someone goes, yeah, but did you write that? And I go, oh, yeah, I did write it. But now look what it does. And it's like, I can't talk about me doing it in the same way. It makes me a little bit, I don't know. It's something I need to get over. But when someone goes about the business, it's like it's a separate part of me. I just go, oh, yeah, like you should totally do this because it's this, and this. And yeah, it absolutely does light me up. But it's just because I feel so confident in it. And now I've got proof, like complete proof that it flies with or without me in a sense. Because that's, as a franchisor, the validation you need, isn't it? It's great having an idea. It's great. Well, it's not great paying for the contract.
No, it's not great.
That's not the fun
necessary.
bit. It's all well and good doing those things, but until you've got people that are doing it, then it's effectively, it's an idea, isn't it? Until it's proven.
Yeah, I love that. What did you find surprising about obviously having been a franchisee and then becoming a franchisor and going through that process? What surprised you the most?
At the moments of, so I'm really emotionally connected to my business and I'm really emotionally attached to my franchisees, but I feel everything they feel. And I know that's not sustainable forever. I know it's not. But I didn't expect to feel this volume of emotion attached to the business when something goes wrong and someone's having a hard time of things. That really, really has gotten me. And actually, I've had a few amazing franchisors that have supported me through getting a clear head to deal with the situation. Through to, those amazing moments of joy. Someone's just messaged me this morning that remortgaging to buy their dream house in the countryside, and that's off the back of growing a business. So, yeah, the highs and the lows, but the emotional side of things is something that I've had to work on. Because actually, as soon as you remove the emotion, you're much more clear to deal with perhaps in particular the more difficult situations. If someone's emotionally charged and they come to you, then they're obviously in a difficult place. So actually it just needs to be met with, certainly not my emotions, but a practical mind in a calm headspace that's very objective. When it's emotional, it's like, just like me and my husband here, it can then get a bit like, you end up having a bit more of a heated conversation. Not that we really do it that often, but that's not what you want really in a business relationship. It's about, it's about coming back to that space where you both leave a conversation feeling much better, that there's a plan, that you're feeling organised. I learned that from other franchisors in their business, and they are literally like a gift to me, that the way that they've just been able to be so objective. Yeah, they're not the fun bits, but and they've proven to be the most difficult bits, but they're the bits that I've learned the most and has surprised me the most.
I think those are the bits where you really learn more about yourself as a person, because it's a new role for you as well. You know, like franchisor isn't something that you get taught. No one teaches you how to be a franchisor. So you have to grow and learn with the role. But I think from my experience and watching a lot of franchisors and working with them, that's a really steep learning curve for some. But having the right support around you is vital.
Completely. Do you know what? I'm really lucky in that I had many staff and teams that I looked after prior to coming into franchising, but many managers are managers without the experience of people management, and even in a corporate world. And that's backwards, and you're just never going to get the best out of people. But you know what? I love a book on motivation. I love a book on focus and flow. I love understanding what makes somebody tick. I've done disciplinaries in a workplace before, but that's, to be fair, all of those experiences were driven by a corporate workspace where I had a company backing me. So it's very easy to go, well, the company policy is this because that's someone else's policy and there's a HR team there. So that's, I knew that about franchising. It wasn't a surprise, but when you're in, when you're in the moment and someone's really emotional, you're trying to help them from the perspective of what would the business's policy be on it? What does my heart say? What does my head say? And then whatever's going on for them. So I'm lucky and I feel fairly qualified, if it was HR, to help and support and deal with those situations. But it's not HR. So then there's that sort of mindset shift. But I feel lucky to have that part of my experience. In terms of my background of being very commercial, my job was to help businesses make the most money out of the investment that was being made. And whether that was buying knitwear for a fashion brand through to helping a store to ensure that it was profitable, that I've been, that I love to be a mentor to my team to help them to become business women, not just learning about baby development and how to support parents through their first year. But I think being a franchisor is so multifaceted.
It is. It really. She made some really good points in all that. I completely agree with you that in corporate, I think it's backwards very often with the management perspective, in that you're promoted into a manager role to manage people a lot of the time through longevity rather than competency. And I think that actually ends up driving a lot of people out of the workplace when they're stuck with somebody like that and you're hitting that ceiling point.
Exactly me. That's why I don't work for other people. And I think that's probably why most people are self-employed, because I just was crushed by some of the managers that I had. Absolutely crushed, because they were terrible people managers.
Yeah. It's your self-esteem, isn't it? Like it becomes your whole pattern of self-esteem over that period of time, and no one's listening. No one's going to come and make you better. No one's going to fix it. No one's going to change that manager or give them the training that they needed. And it drives a lot of people into franchising because they go, well, I can do a better job than that. Or I don't ever want to be, I had similar, I don't ever want to be in that situation again because it was awful for my mental health. Who wants to deal with that? Nobody.
It's one of the most valuable things, I think, becoming a franchisee, is that you can just put all of that mental pressure. And if you're of that nature as well, which one of my key drivers was, or motivators was, praise from other people, recognition. And when you operate that way, you're relying almost too much on other people for their input and not as much on your own outcomes. But when you're a franchisee, you get to celebrate massively your own incomes. If you're the sort of person that's going to be checking in on your emails more than perhaps you should be, and you are happy to spend that extra hour or two in the office, well, why not do that for yourself and enjoy the fruits of that? And then you've got me high-fiving you in the background saying, well, we got 5 more bookings yesterday. Anybody who has ever had, is having a difficult time or having a wobble, I'm just such an open book, and the conversation is always very flowing. And I'm like, you're only here because if here makes you happy. Yeah. And if you're not happy doing this, because being self-employed isn't for everybody, standing in front of a room full of people leading a class isn't for everybody. And I know I have to expect that as part of the journey. And I mean, thank God, touch some wood. It's a very, very small part of the business. But if this doesn't make you happy, then that's okay. Just don't be here then. You find what's right for you. But for the people, for the very stringent recruitment process that we go through to make sure that it's the right fit and the right match for people, It's just magic watching them thrive, because pretty much they've got all the drivers they need to make it a success. Like they've removed themselves from the framework of the binds of whatever it was that was holding them back in a career in corporate in the first place, or your school maybe, or a nursery, or what. That's where a lot of people, my franchisees, come from.
Yeah, it's something that we talked about at the Disruptive Franchise Awards this year, was that validation. We were talking about it in the context of awards, but I think it bleeds through into every aspect of life, really. Like the validation, it has to come from within, really, because whether it's awards, jobs, promotions, investing in businesses, like they're all things that will help you to feel good, hopefully, if they're the right thing. But actually, we have to be happy in ourselves, truly happy in ourselves, which isn't always easy, in order to feel that external joy from other sources.
What surprises me is that, because I love a self-help book and like understanding people.
It's all about the brain, isn't it? That self-development.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of it.
Same. And what surprises me is that I think particularly, obviously, we look after new mums all the time, is that so many people haven't spent any time looking at what drives them and how they work and their makeup. And then the minute they go on maternity leave, you're out of the bubble of push, 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 go, go, go. And they've just got the headspace to reconsider what's going on. And I always feel like maternity leave is a gift to rethink your life that we're really lucky as women to be able to have. And I know dads can now take the parental leave as well. And actually, I do 4 free workshops of an evening, so which is 8 p.m, and I do it 2 or 3 times a year. And we go through aligning or helping people to visualize their goals, their values, to look at how they align. And then we look at the things that they have going on in their life and then how they manage the time and priorities within that. And then we look at how all of those things with them as an individual affect the immediate people around them, their family, then the people in their workspace, or their friends, and then their people in their workspace, and then whatever it is that they're putting out into the world in their end product. And the feedback that I get from it is phenomenal, because it's like someone goes, no, stop the world. Let's just work out exactly where all your little ducks are sat around in a row around you. And then they can go, well, I want that duck and I want to keep that duck, but these ones are more important. Those aren't important. And then they come away actually feeling like they've really gained clarity. And that's what I want people to get to before they decide to become a franchisee with me, because they've done all the work on their own. Well, not on their own, but on themselves, to then go, yeah, I'm ready for that. And there's not really anywhere we can go to get that other than you and I pick up 5 self-help books and then we'll go, now I'm ready.
I did. I'm good. I love that, because when I became a first-time mum, I was so gunning for this corporate career. I've talked about it on the podcast, but I remember being on maternity leave, with a new baby, sitting there at 6:30 in the morning doing the feed, thinking, I'd usually be leaving for work now. I wonder what they're doing. They'll be in that meeting. I wonder how Joe's getting on. And that was the first few months of my maternity leave. My head was still over there, because on reflection, I didn't know who I was. And I'd been pulled out of that world that I'd been so immersed in, that suddenly, I didn't know what my values were. I didn't know who I was, didn't know what I actually wanted. I remember doing a thing. I've been at Daisy for a little while, Daisy First Aid for a little while, and we had a speaker come in to do one of our franchise conferences, and she asked us to write down our values. And everyone else got their notebook. I remember looking around the room thinking, I don't know what to write. And I felt so silly.
No.
I told no one this, but I felt so silly.
Yeah.
How can I not? This is fundamental as me, as a person. But I just didn't know who I was. I knew what I wanted to be. I knew what I had been. I didn't know who I was. And so what you've just said there about the free workshops that you do is incredible.
Thank you. Well, I do it every time with the team that I'm doing it with, because stuff evolves and grows and changes, doesn't it? But you're so right, Stacey. You just have that moment of going, oh God, that world's kept turning without me. And what is my purpose? What is my use? What's driving me now? And actually, I'm really cross with myself, but I continued to consult while I was on my first maternity leave, because I didn't really know what else to do. And I'm so cross that I put myself under that pressure. But I just think I was stuck in an achieving wheel that was a real struggle to get off of. And it was only when everything was taken out of my hands, the business was restructured, and it just meant it was impossible for me to go back. And at the time, I felt like, the world was crumbling around me. Like I was saying earlier, everything leads you to the path that's meant to be, and I'm really grateful that happened now. But I was completely in that boat. And exercise is actually something with the values that I picked up from a diary that I absolutely love using, and in it, that's one of the little things that it got me to do. And it shows you 50 values, and then you go through and you pick like you just sort of highlight the 10 best, and then you have to whittle it down. It's a really simple thing, anyone could pick it up from anywhere, but the fact that someone holds a space for you to do it, well, that's what I want to be for my franchisees. That's what I want to be for other people. And we do it in classes as well. We hold in a space where we bring 10, 15 mums together that are all on that crazy journey, where half the room won't know anything about their baby in terms of their brain development and the possibilities, anything about it, very little. Maybe they've not had babies in their family. And we get the benefit and the joy of being able to experience and go on that journey with the parents. So whether they're becoming a franchisee or whether they're just a person in our classes, actually it's Joe Middleton that gave me the expression of the ripple effect, and it's our ripple effect, and that is everything to me. My ripple effect as a franchisor, my ripple effects through the classes, for all the good that we get to do with giving the babies the best start in life, because their parents go, you what? Like if I'm giving them this rich sense of experience, it does X, Y, Z, and they're going to be emotionally intelligent individuals, and just absolutely love it. And they'll grow up to be great little individuals because their parents felt supported and gained confidence through our classes. Mind blowing.
It's huge. The impact that you have is huge. Absolutely huge. I love it. Sarah, if I could wave a magic wand for you and you could do anything without the fear of failure, what would you do?
I would take away my inside voice that goes, I just wrote the lesson plan and that was it, and it's fine. Like, I massively get in my own way by not taking ownership for all of the amazing things that I've just listed that the business is doing. I don't know what it is. I love and am so able to support other people in thriving, but I just get in my own way. So I should be able to stand on a soapbox and tell 100 people about why this might be amazing for them. Not to lure people in, but for them to go, I like this girl, she can come on board. So yeah, it's me holding myself back. I don't actually dream of having 100 franchisees. I'd love to have a network that feels that we can reach, even 10, 20 franchisees that mean that we're reaching that little sphere of influence where we're doing good and people are able to thrive. It's not about sales, but it is very difficult when you're getting in your own way a lot of the time with your self-talk. So I would take that away, and then I probably would have 1,000 franchisees.
You probably would. I think what will happen is that as you grow and you work on it, because you are clearly somebody who likes to work on yourself. I recognise that. I'm the same. I think as you grow, probably faster than you realise, that will start to ebb away a little bit and free you up. It's almost those little micro steps into like, do this bit, nothing bad happens. My brain is happy to be safe. What if I try this? Oh, nothing bad happens. And I think that without realising, one day we'll turn around and have a conversation and be like, oh yeah, I used to feel like that, but I don't now.
Oh, well, I hope so. Each time you get a little bit of proof that it's perhaps, you didn't really need to stand in your own way about that. You didn't need to worry about that. Oh, look, someone else has just proven that, in fact, that you were wrong by making a success without the worry, you needing to worry about it in the first place. I'm really thankful for those moments, and I definitely take stock. But it's like anything, isn't it? The more you do it, the easier it gets. So one of my objectives is just to start showing up on social media regularly, like you're absolute queen of it. And actually watching Jenny as well, like she's amazing at showing up. And from Daisy First Aid, like it's an absolute inspiration. But actually, the thought of drawing people in through knowing me and going, yep, she's got the right idea, makes so much sense to me, rather than me going on soapbox going, who wants to buy into this business? That's just, it's never going to work that way. So I wonder if that will help me to creep out of my comfort zone. I know, like, that question caught me out a little bit because I I didn't know what the answer would be. And then I've probably just blurted out something that's from like the very core of my soul.
Great answer. Those are the best answers because it comes from within rather than, I'll grab that and check, like, that's the best answer. And like, I can tell you absolutely from my point of view, and also knowing Jenny so well, that it doesn't come naturally for us. We had to really work, and we still daily have to work on showing up because I don't ever wake up in the morning and go, I feel like being really visible today. I'm like, I just want to hide under my duvet. But you do the practice and nothing terrible happens. So you do it again, and that muscle memory will build up quicker than you realize. But I think people will I think you're absolutely right. People buy into you and the emotional connection to you and the emotional connection that you have to what you do, your mission and your impact. Let it drive you because it's a fail safe, I think.
Thank you. Well, that's me off to do a live after this.
Let's wrap up there then so you can do your live. Sarah, if anyone's listening to this, like, have to speak to Sarah, how do they speak to you?
The best way is to reach out. You can always there's just a tiny little questionnaire on our website, but it just gives enough information to me that we can pick up and have a little chit chat. It's really easy to download a prospectus from there, actually, if they're listening and they're thinking about making a change and becoming a franchisee. But I'm also on Instagram, so you can just find me at the Baby Cloud Franchise and then just drop me a DM there as well. It's always really nice to hear from people that are making a change because there's that mentoring part of me. It always gets a bit fired up, even if it's not my business that I'll end up working with.
Amazing. I love it. So we'll put all your links in the podcast. Guys, if you've been listening to this and you've absolutely loved listening to Sarah's mission and her story, drop her a DM and tell her that you liked the episode. I'm sure she'll be loving that too. That's it for this week. Sarah, thank you so much. Thoroughly enjoyed our chat. I hope we get to chat like this again because I've loved it. Loved every minute.
Yeah, me too. Thank you so much for your time and for inviting me.
Pleasure. Guys, we'll see you all next week.